Alright, time for 20 through 16. Here we go. So Ridge Racer Type 4, not Ridge Racer 4, Ridge Racer Type 4 is a racing game on the PlayStation 1 or PSX or whatever you want to call it. And it's, it's a pretty good racing game. I'm not a huge fan of racing games, but all I know about the Ridge Racer series is that their cars, like the cars that they use in the game, aren't real, so it's more of like for a fun arcadey experience than realistic racing, kind of, in the sense. It's still pretty fun, and there is kind of like a story mode, which you have like this weird story with your trainer for racing and stuff. It's kind of interesting, kind of cool. The main reason though to get this game, or at least one of them, for me at least, was the soundtrack, and it is like really good. And if you haven't seen the opening cutscene, it's kind of cringy and kind of funny, but I think that's what makes it so good, because it looks pretty good for the era. The opening cutscene, like, it looks fantastic, and the soundtrack, and it goes Ridge Racer, and that's like the best part about it. And I also have like this wheel for the PlayStation 1 that you can play racing games with, and it's a lot of fun using that wheel. So yeah, it's a alright game, pretty good. Now, Startropics is a action RPG for the NES, and it is a pretty fun and good one at that. So the story's kind of weird. It's like this kid, he's like going to see his grandpa or something. I don't really remember it too well. And I think his like grandpa or something's kidnapped by aliens, and he has to go to these islands and pretty much, figure out what happened to him. And yeah, it's kind of like Zelda-ish, kind of like Dragon Quest-ish. The dungeons are like Zelda, as you could probably see on the screen right here, except there's more, I guess, platforming. Like, you could jump around the spaces, and there's more like floor tile puzzles and stuff that you could do. And that's pretty much the extent of the puzzles, but your weapon that you have is a yo-yo, and it kind of has a longer range than, like, a normal Zelda sword. And you can get all sorts of items and stuff, and that's pretty much like the whole game on the dungeon side. There is like this world map that you go across to, and you go to towns kind of like in Dragon Quest, and like you get secrets and advance the plot and all that stuff. And yeah, it's a pretty really solid NES game, and has a decent soundtrack and all that, and the gameplay is pretty solid. Feels good. It's, if you're looking for an action RPG game on the NES, this is a good pick, or if not one of the best picks for it. So, some of you may be wondering, what? You put Dokapon Kingdom in 18th? That game's awesome. And yeah, it's probably one of the best games I played in the whole freaking year. And I don't know why I put it at 18th. I should have probably put it higher, but like, the thing is with it, it's not pretty bare bones. There's a lot to it, but when you get down to it and get, through the game, it's kind of simple. And it is best played with friends, so single player isn't really a good option, even though there is single player. But it's just not the best. You gotta have friends and go through the whole campaign and have multiple times, and it'll take forever to do it also, which is another drawback. But for those who don't know and just heard me rambling about the game for like a minute, Dokapon Kingdom is pretty much a multiplayer board game RPG, and whoa, it is fun and cool, and there's like classes and stuff, and you fight random enemies and you level up, and there's like sort of dungeons, but like you take over towns and stuff, or you like, you know, free towns, and they like, you just own them when you beat up the monsters there. It is so much fun, and it's a great multiplayer game, but then again, single player is lacking just because it's way more fun with more people. It's like a Mario Party game, you know, just not as fun alone, but there is so much like to it. Like there's multiple classes that you unlock if you get like specific items, or if you complete multiple classes, like, you know, rank their job levels all the way up. And there's just a ton of cool stuff with this game. It is pretty much the quintessential board game RPG Mario Party-esque kind of thing. There are no mini games though, so it's just all board. But it's not boring. I know there are other Dokapon Kingdom games in the series, but I haven't played them. Or not Dokapon Kingdom, there's like Dokapon Adventure or something. I've not played them, so I can't really compare them to this, but this is pretty freaking good. Alright, I think maybe Paper Mario and the Origami King shouldn't be 17th, but then again, this game is the most recent Paper Mario game in the series, and I have somewhat mixed feelings about this game. I do think it's better than Color Splash and Sticker Star. Not like I played Color Splash or much of Sticker Star, but it is, you know, going back to the roots a bit with actual random battles and stuff. But there's just some things about the game that irk me and don't make it better than some other games I played this year, I guess. Like, first off, the battle system, it's pretty easy. Like, sometimes the puzzles get like kind of stupid, but like there's no like actual like RPG element to it. Like, it kind of has like a fake element to it where you think it's like, it feels like an RPG, but it's not actually an RPG, or it looks like an RPG, but it doesn't feel like one. It's pretty much, all the battles are just puzzles that you just move around, and once you solve it, you pretty much win. There's no like leveling up, there's no equipment. You just like get items that are better, and you just use them in battle. That is kind of lame, because the other Paper Mario games have a great battle system with, like, you know, dodging and stuff, especially blocking in this game. Holy crap, it is so easy to block. You can press the block button, and then 2 seconds later get hit, and you'll still take reduced damage. Like, it's crazy. The story is pretty good. It is there's a lot of like neat touches and a lot of small stuff in the game that really adds to the overall experience. It is pretty charming and cool, and the story though, like the ending especially, is not good at all. It is pretty cringe. I don't think they take it too seriously though, which is good. The partners are kind of weak also. Like, there's some cool ones, like, you know, ba-bomb, 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 and not really anyone else. Captain Toad is kind of cool, I guess, but the other dudes are just lame, and they don't do anything in battle. Yeah, that's pretty much it. The game's pretty funny though. Now, with Persona Q, a lot of these, you know, this review is like entirely opinionated. Like, I bet a lot of these games are actually better than making them out to be. But this Persona Q review right here, it will be super mega opinionated and my own personal experience with the game, because I probably would have put this a lot higher if it weren't for my unfortunate experiences with the game. But yeah. So, Persona Q is like a dungeon crawler sort of thing. There's like 4 or 5 dungeons in the game, and they're pretty big dungeons. I will say way too big, because the game took me like 80 hours to complete for some freaking reason. And there is a lot, I mean, the story and stuff, it's not bad. It's kind of cool. It is It combines Persona 3 and Persona 4 kind of nicely, and I like the cast of characters interacting with each other. That's all pretty cool. I like Ray and Zen. They're kind of cool. The battle's good also. Okay, let me get to the problem. The dungeons are, in my opinion, way too big, and they take too long, and there's too much padding with it, and my game started to glitch out because I have a physical copy near the end of the game, and I couldn't go into the Velvet Room, and like not at all, not even in cutscenes. And to get the ultimate forms of the personas near the end of the game, you have to go to the Velvet Room. So I cannot get my ultimate form. So then I just went to the final dungeon, and then tried as hard as I could. I got it to the top of the dungeon. I was ready for the final boss, and then the game crashed at the final boss. Like when it tries to initiate it, it crashes. So I had to look the ending up on YouTube, which was very freaking disappointing. Like, holy crap. Like, I spent so much freaking time in it just for the game to crash on me. It just sucks. I mean, the game's good though. I would like to put it higher, but just the time sink it had, and just for all of it to just go away at the end, it kind of sucked a lot. And that is probably why this is at 16th. And some of you may know I really like the Persona series, and well, not Persona 5. I even haven't played it. But just for this cringy blah 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 blah, crashing, and it's not the, I mean, it kind of is the game's fault, but yeah, that's Persona Q.